My girlfriend embarrassed me at a party, so I walked out and changed everything by morning. It happened at Blake's birthday party in his cramped apartment downtown. Music was too loud, the kitchen smelled like pizza and beer, and everyone was packed into the living room acting louder than usual. Danielle had been off all week, glued to her phone, starting fights, disappearing for hours, then acting normal. I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know she was about to turn it into a show. We were all there on the couch and floor. Me, Danielle, Blake, Owen, and Danielle's friends Ruby and Sky. Danielle stood up with a drink in her hand and tapped the side of the cup until people looked at her. Then she smiled and said she had something to tell everyone. The room got quiet fast. She looked right at me and said she'd been seeing Levi from Sigma Chi for the last month. Then she added that she needed a real man, not a guy who only worked, played games, and took her to places like Applebee's. She said it with a smug little smile. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then Blake laughed. He said she wasn't wrong, and asked when I'd last taken Danielle somewhere nice. Owen jumped in right after him and said girls need attention, not some guy who's always busy. Ruby shrugged and said maybe this was a wake-up call for me. Sky giggled and brought up the rooftop place Levi had taken Danielle to last weekend. I just sat there looking at all of them. These were people I'd helped for years. I'd covered Blake's part of the rent when he blew money going out. I paid for half the streaming stuff everyone used. I helped Owen move in the middle of the night when his last place fell through. I drove Ruby across town after her breakup because she was crying too hard to drive. Now all of them were sitting there enjoying this. Danielle kept staring at me, waiting. I could see exactly what she wanted. She wanted me to snap. She wanted yelling, begging, maybe me asking what Levi had that I didn't. Instead, I stood up slowly, reached over, and picked my keys off Blake's coffee table. I told her she was right and thanked her for being honest. That wiped the smile off her face for the first time all night. Blake asked where I was going. I said home. Then I walked out while they were still trying to figure out why I wasn't giving them the scene they wanted. My hands were shaking by the time I got to my car, but not because I was crushed. Everything suddenly felt clear. I wasn't trying to save a relationship or protect fake friends anymore. I knew exactly who everybody was. I drove back to the apartment and sat in the parking lot for a minute with the engine running and my phone in my hand. Then I made 3 calls. The first was to my lawyer about the lease and the bills. Blake and Owen loved acting like I was just another broke roommate, but my name was on the things that mattered. The internet, utilities, parking, renter's insurance, and the deposit had all gone through me. They had 30 days before everything in my name was gone. The second call was to HR at Danielle's internship. Not to lie, just to report that she'd been using company time and contacts to impress a guy from campus and bragging in public about things she should have kept private. There had already been concerns. I just gave them one more reason to look. The third call was to a project manager at Levi's dad's company. I'd heard enough that night to know Levi had been throwing his family name around to show off. I passed along exactly what he'd been saying. Then I packed a bag and slept at a hotel. By 8 the next morning, my phone was going crazy. Danielle called again and again until I stopped counting. Blake texted first, asking why the power account was getting changed. Owen sent a paragraph about how I was overreacting and messing everybody up over one bad night. Ruby said Danielle was crying. Sky said Levi was furious because his dad had found out where he'd been spending money and who he'd been using the company card around. Then Danielle left a voicemail. She wasn't smug anymore. She was panicking. Levi had dumped her the second his dad got involved. Her internship called her in for a meeting. Blake and Owen were staring at numbers they couldn't cover without me quietly filling the gaps. I listened to the message once, sitting on the edge of the hotel bed in yesterday's jeans. She kept saying we needed to talk and that she hadn't thought things would go this far. She'd planned a public humiliation like it was entertainment. My so-called friends joined in because they thought I was the easy target in the room. The only thing I actually did was stop protecting people who had no problem embarrassing me. My phone started buzzing again before the voicemail even ended. Danielle this time, then Blake, then Owen, then Danielle again. I opened her last text. It said, "Can we please just talk?" I looked at it for a second, hit delete, and booked the moving truck. Now my friends are saying I went too far by leaving. Was I wrong?